Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Attack on Titan, the final season, which is on episode 72, or Attack on Titan final season, which is on episode 13, Well, 72 of the overall total number of episodes, but anyways. Mappa, you did a freaking fantastic, phenomenal job, man. Call me crazy Milanakis, but dude, they really did a good job portraying this episode of how scary a cycle can really be. And just by looking at it, oh man, I never realized I never thought I'd be so traumatized of how scary it can be when you're consumed by it. Now you guys might be thinking like, okay man, what the heck are you talking about? You must be talking nonsense, man. I'm like, well, depending on how you look at it, oh my gosh. You may get the idea. So if anything else, let's just get this started. I'm really glad they did a good, phenomenal job on this. So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that Levi ends up interrogating Zeke about the situation with Rakugo Village, and we get to know a lot about this as the episode continues on. We get to know that Zeke explained to Levi that the smoke that was used had some spinal fluid in it. Not to mention his spinal fluid, and he used the power of the Titans in order to transform those who were in the village into Titans. And Levi's like, hey man, the village is called Rakugo, for all I know. You, on the other hand, don't even have a shred of remorse of what you do anyway, the piece of I could make my cussing obvious and out loud, but I'm trying to endure it for now because that's what my channel is. At least PG to PG-13 language at most, but whatever. Other than that, we have to it that Levi gets some news about what's been happening, and we get to know that it was shown at another part of the episode where Levi gets news about Eren going haywire, or should I say rogue in other cases, along with the Jaegerists, Not to mention, they plan to kill Eren, and maybe that's the reason why they kind of went rogue, or they found out, And that's when Levi's like, are you effing serious? And dude, Mappa did a phenomenal job portraying Levi, remembering all the sacrifices that he did for Eren, because he was the hope of humanity for this island, that kind of thing. Or for the world, when they didn't know about it. And from the scouts, from his first squad, the Levi squad, and then, from the other scouts, oh my gosh, they did a nice portrayal job right there where Levi's like really upset, saying that, are you seriously saying that we got to kill Eren? Hell no! There's someone else we got to kill! Even Levi's really, really upset about this, etc. That scene was actually shown up at a different time, which is kind of annoying, but I can understand why, but it is what it is, So, anyways, let's go to the restaurant scene, because this is where the scene really caught my eye, and it really showed me how scary a cycle can be. And it's not easy to get out of it. That much is certain. I mean, that's how we all humans are. And, yeah. Anyways, Gabby and Falco, along with the family that they end up having with Kaya, they end up taking Gabby and Falco there, which is Mia and Ben, and we get to know more about the situation here, As the episode continues on, we have to it that Niccolo ends up being greeted by the scout members, which is Hanji, Oyokapan, John, Connie, Mikasa, and Armin. He ends up giving them a room, and it looks like to me Jean and Connie were like looking at a wine and say, oh man, this looks so good, we should give it a try. But Niccolo's like, hey, don't touch it, okay? We're not pals or anything, don't go touching this, okay? And John's like, hey man, what the heck's your problem? Calm down, what's your deal? Etc. But that wasn't really the case, and I'll get to that just a moment, And we get to see to it that as the episode continues on, Niccolo ends up taking the wine from Connie and John after insulting them in a certain way, but it looks like to me he was reluctant to do so. But we have to it that Gabby and Falco talks to Niccolo for a bit, after realizing they got the chance to do so, as Kaya gives them the signal like, hey, go, this is your chance, get out of here. And we see to it that Gabby and Falco talks to Niccolo, and Gabby ends up telling Niccolo about what happened, etc. And how they got there. And Niccolo is all like piecing together about what happened when it came to the airship with what he was told about, you know? And Nicolo's like, hey, was there any chance that you freaking like killed someone? When Gabby mentioned she killed someone, and Gabby's like, yeah, I shot a girl, you know, but hey, Marley, the attack on this island is gonna come soon, so you just gotta spread news to your other Marleyan members whatsoever. But we have to it that Falco, realizing the eyes in Nicolo's attitude, or should I say the expression of it, he goes like, Gabby, stop, what are you doing? Stop it. But unfortunately it was too late. Nicolo ends up getting a wine, gets the wine bottle and tries to hit Gabby, but Falco pushes Gabby out of the way and gets hit by it instead. And we have to it that the wine slips into Falco's mouth, and Nicolo's like, what the hell? You know, and Gabby, realizing Falco's on the ground, goes like, Falco, what's wrong? And Nicolo ends up beating her up and then brings her back to the room where Kaya and the other family members are at, and we get to see to it that Nicolo's like, hey, this little girl just murdered your daughter. She is the one. And everyone comes into shock, even Sasha's father. Yes, that guy was Sasha's father. The one that was taking Kaya and the others, not to mention Gabby and Falco there, you know, etc. Oh my gosh. Nicolo ends up explaining like, hey, this little wretched girl, she's a Marleyan, but she's a freaking like a warrior candidate. She's a soldier. She's the one that killed your freaking daughter, you know? If you can't do it, I'll do it. And Armin ends up looking at this and says, hey, this is the one that ran away. Hey, Hanji, everyone, get over here. But unfortunately, it was too late. I mean, we have to it that Nicolo has Falco hostage and explains to everyone that you better back off. This girl needs to die whatsoever, you know? And they go like, hey, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And we have to it that Gabby's like, hey, leave Falco alone. What are you doing? And then Nicolo's like, what the hell? He's someone important to you? You took someone important to me. You know that, right? Do you have any idea that girl Sasha saved me from a lifetime of war because she loved my cooking and that I can make people happy by cooking? Huh? You end up having to take someone that was very important to me that made me want to be smiling, and she saved me from all this stupid war hellish garbage filth, you know? And Gab was like, hey, that girl took someone I cared about too. She took my she literally took people I cared about too. So I did what I thought I had to do, okay? And Nico's like, hey, it doesn't matter who shot who first, okay? I don't know. But the way how it was portrayed in this episode, you know? Even Sasha's father, he ends up saying, Nicolo, give me the knife. And Nicolo hands him the knife. And dude, just by looking at his face, and Gabby's face, man, it was so well done how it was portrayed, you know. And the way I look at it, and we get to see Sasha's father speak. He says, you know, Sasha was a hunter. Back then, because, you know, I brought her to the forest to kill vermin and animals in order for us to eat. And, you know, sooner or later, I sent her to a bigger world, which is also a bigger forest, you know. The reason why Sasha died in there because she stayed in that forest for too long, etc. Right now, like, the way how he was speaking about Sasha and how to stop this madness, you know, he ends up explaining, like, it is up to us to stop sending those kids to the forest whatsoever, you know. In other words, the way how his speech went about, you know, is a lot of symbolism. And I'll get to that right now. When he mentioned, like, I sent Sasha outside the forest to a soldier life and then sent her to a bigger world, and she died in that world because she was part of that war or battlefield, you know? And it was really, really depressing the way I look at it, because he wants to end this cycle of hatred and killing and rage, you know? Think about it. How do you stop that, dude? I mean, once one kills, the other kills, and then the other one kills, the other one kills. How do you stop that? It's an endless cycle. Sometimes not being part of that cycle at all is the first big step to stopping that cycle. So pretty much Sasha's father says, I want to stop this, man. I'm not going to kill a kid. And even if I did, it'll only bring me more, I'm pretty sure it'll bring him more misery in the end. And I'm pretty sure it will too. I mean, it's really so well done how they portrayed in this episode, you know? Especially Kaya. Dude, she literally took the freaking knife and tries to stab Gabby with it and says, "What the hell? I thought you were my friend," you know? And when I saw Kaya's face right there, dude, Kaya's face, dude, it represented how scary it is when you are consumed by hate and anger and you want to kill someone. It is very scary. Sometimes we humans just don't realize how our faces can be, or how scary it is when we see a loved one or we want to get revenge on someone, you know? Like, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Oh my gosh, dude. Not a day. I am forever haunted by that freaking image of Kaya's face, man. I mean, how it represents so much anger and hate, and how she tries to kill Gabby, but Mikasa stopped her from doing so, because it's not going to make anything better, and it's not going to bring Sasha back, you know? And Kaya can only scream in total anger, rage, and agony, and so much grief, because Sasha meant a lot to her, you know? We all know Sasha saved Kaya when she was a little girl. And we have to it that Niccolo ends up telling Hanji, "Hey, Hanji, this might be a little too late," but after Mikasa and Armin escort Gabby to another room to maybe talk to her, you know, or maybe to get her out of view of Kaya's sight whatsoever, yeah, that's when Niccolo ends up explaining, "You might want to rinse Falco's mouth, man, because there might be a chance that Zeke's spinal fluid might be in there." And what's even worse is that they go, wait, what are you talking about? And that's when Niccolo ends up explaining everything of how, like, these wines were supposed to be given to the higher-ups of the MPs whatsoever, the military police brigades and all that, and the higher-ups of those who's in charge. Oh my gosh, that's just freaking scary as hell. Not to mention, we get to know how Zeke's spinal fluid works, you know? I mean, we heard about this at the very beginning of the episode, and as the episode continues on, Niccolo explained that it was all planned by Yelena. Not to mention, we have to it that Connie's like, wait. I remember that Zeke mentioned that his spinal fluid, whoever breathes or even inhales it or even has it come into their body, they're not supposed to move. But that was a lie when Hanji realizes it, because those who drank the wine or something, they don't feel anything. They won't even notice. That's even worse. So that means they are already in Zeke's trap right now, you know? Not to mention, we get to see how Hanji and everyone else were trying to wash up Falco, but they end up being interrupted by Flock and the other renegades, or Jaegerists, you know? And we see to it that Niccolo is like, "Hey, what the hell's going on here?" And then, you know, Flock ends up telling Hanji, "You're going to take me where Zeke is." Not to mention, we're not going to negotiate. We're not taking your negotiations. Eren says so. And we see to it that Hanji's like, "Hey, do you not understand that Zeke's spinal fluid is in the wine whatsoever?" And Flock's like, "Oh, not a big deal." And Hanji's like, "Wait a minute, are you saying that you knew about this or something?" And Flock's like, "Shh, use your inside voice. We're not here to make any noise, you know." I'm like, oh my gosh. Even Flock's scary face where he tells Hanji this. I was like, oh my gosh, man. I never realized how this episode is already becoming haunting to me, man. Oh my lord, I am so freaking haunted by those faces. And then we see a scene with Gabby as well, talking to Armin and Mikasa, like, hey, don't you guys hate me? Don't you want to kill me? And Armin's like, we're not going to kill you. And Gabby's like, don't you want to though? And Armin's like, no, we're not going to do that. Kill. It's not going to make anything better. You remind me of someone else that wants to keep killing. And Eren shows up in front of him without notice. And Mikasa and Armin can only stare at him like in shock of him there. And he shows his bloodied hand right now, like ready, telling them like giving them a signal like, hey, what's up? And calm it down before things get ugly, you know? And Gabby could only like listen into shock of what just happened here and there, you know, etc. And preview next episode's called Savagery, and this is where it's going to be a crazy game changer episode, man. I mean, there's only a couple more episodes left, man, and we don't really, one thing for sure, oh man, this is really going to be hectic and crazy. That much I can tell you, man. Etc. Next episode is called Savagery, you know? Anyways, this episode right here, oh my gosh. I never realized how the cycle of hatred, anger, rage, and killing could be so contagious. Like, being part of that cycle is unavoidable. Once you have something or something happen to you or a loved one taken from you, you're more likely to be part of that cycle. It's like this. One kills and then the other kills. Because that one started it first is the reason I started killing. And that's an endless cycle, you know? I mean, like, when it's obvious from the get-go when it comes to humanity alone, I mean, it's only natural for you to be very angry, enraged, and want to kill that person in revenge because they took someone you love, like a daughter, son, niece, or a lover, etc. You get the point. You get the idea. But enduring it and not being part of that cycle is the biggest and toughest move to make, because when Sasha's father mentioned what Sasha was and what he did, you know, he doesn't want to be part of that cycle, man. I mean, enough is enough. I mean, how much blood has to be spilled until this cycle comes to an end? It's kind of funny how it's ironic when that thing is always like mentioned in so many series of certain anime or media, you know, or entertainment, etc. You get the idea. How the cycle of vengeance, killing, anger, and hatred could be so contagious, you know? But not being part of that cycle is the biggest step, etc. That aside, you know, Levi getting news about what's going on with Eren and his renegade group, oh man, he's already like worried here and there. So I thought the biggest highlight in this episode was the Sasha's father being the big adult or big man and not be part of that cycle of hatred, anger, and killing. Or the cycle of killing. Because honestly, enough is enough. We cannot allow the other young generation of people or young kids to be part of that cycle. But unfortunately, Kaya almost became part of that cycle because of what Gabby did. And she was a young kid, you know? You can understand that. And her face was just haunting, man. I mean, even Flock's face was haunting too, but I never realized how anger and hate and rage and being part of that cycle of killing can be so scary, man. I mean, yeah. I gotta give props for freaking like the creator of Attack on Titan, like doing a fine well job when presenting that scene in the manga and seeing that scene being portrayed in the anime, dude. It was superbly well done. Mappa, good job, man. I'm looking forward to the other episodes that you'd be doing, and I'm pretty sure it'll go very well. I just know it. So, until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alphazito. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Ta-da!